Hello, this is Paperback Man. I just saw the movie Dream Scenarios, starring Mr. Nicolas Cage. The minute I saw this trailer, I was so hooked, man. It just looks so good, and it looks so up my alley. I love Nick Cage. I'm a big defender of him. I think he has such a great presence as an actor. I mean, if you've seen Adaptation, you know, like, he's so good, and he's just compelling. I don't know how to say it other than he's compelling. And he's had a weird career trajectory where he kind of became a meme, and he became like this out of touch like B-movie actor who just did all these pieces of shit roles. And then he, in recent years, have kind of like reclaimed himself, and like he's been on this path of recovery, doing all these like studio films and all these like better films and whatever. And for him to be working with A24, it was frankly the perfect pick, and it's the perfect culmination of where his career is right now. And I'm very happy where things are going, and hope this leads to even more roles for him, because like he's just fantastic. But on to the movie itself. Did I like it? The answer is yes. I enjoyed it very much. First of all, I was not familiar with the director. I will say the movie is very well directed. It has a nice, very filmic look. I'm assuming it's shot on film. I know there's very good filters nowadays, but damn if it doesn't like exemplify why you love that film look so much. It just, that fall weather, it's perfect. It's perfect for this kind of movie. Absolutely. The man himself, Nick Cage, is fantastic. Not only is he fantastic, but the character himself is fantastic. When you see the movie, it's such an out there premise, and you kind of assume that the character is going to be like an everyman, a kind of guy who you kind of like picture yourself in. You wonder, if I was in this situation, what I would do. But the thing that really kind of catches you off guard is just how specific he is as a person. This is one of the most socially awkward people you've ever seen. I would say it's like watching like a very dramatic version of a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. He just has absolutely no charisma in any situation whatsoever. Tries to be charming, he tries to be likable, and he just isn't. And it's kind of funny in a very sad way, especially in the fact that a lot of people admire him not for anything he actually does, but for things outside of his control. It's a very fascinating character study on what fame does to a person, but more specifically what fame does to a person like this, who's kind of attention hungry and is very much craving this spot in this part in the spotlight, very much Twilight Zone-esque, and it's like kind of a be careful what you wish for scenario. All the supporting cast is great. Specifically the woman who plays his wife is very good and very kind of real in a great way. Michael Cera is hilarious in his small role. Everyone in the cast does a fantastic job. The premise is just so original. It's kind of the kind of thing where it's like I could never imagine even thinking of this premise. It's so ingenious. It is. I cannot praise it enough. The idea of just like everyone's dreams is this person. It's fantastic. I can't praise enough. Just like I wish I could go inside the writer's mind. It's like, how did you think of this? A lot of people, the big complaint I've heard from a lot of people is that it kind of falls apart in the third act. And I'll have to disagree. I think everything that happens kind of happens at a very intentional pace. A lot of people were saying that this is a comment on cancel culture, kind of similar to what people were saying about Tar last year. I find them interesting comparisons just because with Tar, people made the case that it was cancel culture, but then people try to say they're like, you're not giving the movie enough credit, it's deeper than that. And while I certainly think this movie's deep, I don't think you could really get away from the fact that this is definitely about cancel culture. There's no way around it. And also Tar, just to be frank, I mean, I think a lot of people in general, like on the left, are very scared of that term, cancel culture, and like very much think of it as some cringy notion. But whether you like it or not, or whether you believe the people who have gotten quote-unquote canceled deserve it or not, it's a real thing. It's a real thing that has happened to real people. You know, it's a phenomenon. It's not just something that is outside of our world. It's something that exists, and we have to kind of live with that. And I do think that these movies nowadays are commenting on it, and whether or not you believe it's complex or not, it is still commenting on that kind of issue. And I think the way it goes about commenting on it is very interesting. I think it's interesting in a way that will kind of roll some heads, just because it's basically implying that he doesn't deserve anything that really happens to him. The whole world turns on him for no reason. And again, if you apply this to real life, it has some weird implications on what the writers must think about this cultural issue. But personally, I think it works. It works as a standalone story and as an allegory, just because he is also not a perfect protagonist either, and you can say that he might, in some ways, actually does deserve what he gets towards the end. I won't go into much else without saying spoilers. This isn't like the type of thing that needs like a spoiler section where I go into that. I will say that there's just a lot of interesting twists and reveals that are really fascinating. And overall, I think it's a very, very good movie. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year. And I'm going to give this a very high, a very generous 10 out of 10. Because I genuinely did enjoy it quite a lot. I do see where some complaints are coming from, where, like they said, like the third act kind of goes all over the place, and I see that, but I was just never bored. I was always entertained. I loved it. I will definitely be checking this out again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.